Hi everyone, it's me again, and this is going to be the second video that I'm going to do for tips for dressage riders, or really any riders in general, because everybody has to ride in boots. So today we're going to look at cleaning and polishing our boots properly. I notice a lot on the show circuit that not everybody does a thorough job of cleaning their boots and polishing them. A lot of people use the quick shine to dust their boots off, and that's that. For me, I like to do a thorough polishing. And you know, I know there's a lot of riders nowadays that have the patent leather boots, which are great. They look nice. I like them a lot. For me, I stick with the brushed finish. The main reason being that the patent leather, if it gets scratched, it's scratched and you're done. And that's it. You need new boots, basically. With the brushed leather, you still have the option that if you get a scratch or a scuff, you can just buff it out. I like that more. I don't want to buy a new pair of boots every time. And for those who know me, I ride a lot of horses and I work around the barn a lot, and the odds of boots getting scratched, it's not too slim, unfortunately. So it does happen. So I like to stick with a brushed boot, and these are my show boots, one of them anyways. And as you can see, they've got wear on them. So, you know, these boots haven't been treated easy. They've been out, they've been shown in the rain and the mud, and you know, they've got wear on the inside calf, so you can see they're well-worn boots. These aren't brand new, just pulled out of the box. So the first thing we need to do is clean the boots, obviously, because we can't polish over top of dirt. That doesn't make sense. So you're going to need water and some saddle soap and a sponge and a cloth to dry off and a toothbrush. Cheap investment always, and always handy for cleaning when it comes to horse stuff. Again, usually I wouldn't be doing this with a bowl of water. I would do it over the sink, and I don't usually do this on my table either, but for the sake of videoing and ease, that's what we're going to do today. So you want your water to be warm. So you're just going to basically get your sponge wet and saddle soap up your boot. And I know that there are a lot of boot companies out there that would be mortified at no saddle soap on the boots. And again, I'm not saying my way is the perfect way, but this is how I do it. And you know what? For 20 years almost now, I've been putting saddle soap on boots, and I have not had a pair spontaneously combust yet. And most of my boots last between 5 to 10 years, honestly. So it works for me. I don't think there's a problem with it, but I know a lot of people are instructed otherwise. So my boots have been polished in the past, so my sponge will get nice and black from the old polish. Doesn't matter, washes out. We can wash our sponges later, not a big deal. So you take your toothbrush, this is to get into the hard spots, and again, you can put a little bit of saddle soap on your toothbrush. I'm not opposed to getting things sudsy, and I like to get things good and clean. I'm like, we can always wipe that off later. That's my attitude. And the toothbrush is really useful for getting kind of into the sole there of the boot and everything, because you know, the dirt and the sand likes to stick in there, and it gets kind of hard to get it out. So I find the toothbrush is really handy for that kind of stuff. And I want to clean the whole boot, so I make sure I clean the inside of the calf and everything. And then once I'm done that, I'm going to dry off the boot. I'll abbreviate it a little bit because I know it gets boring watching this. But we're going to dry off the boot after that. And then we're just going to quickly wash off the sole of the boot as well, because amazingly, a lot of people, when they clean their boots, they don't do the sole because they're like, oh, I'm walking around on that. However, when you're on the horse and your foot's in the stirrup, you actually can see a little bit of it sometimes. You know, even if it's just in a photo, but it does show up sometimes. So it does help sometimes to clean the sole of the boot off a little bit. Of course, you're going to walk and get on your horse, and maybe if you have a groom, if you're lucky you have a groom who can clean it off for you, that helps tremendously. Yeah, so we're going to, same exact thing, just clean the sole up, get all the crap out of it. And this is actually pretty dirty because I haven't cleaned them in a little while. So they need a good cleaning. Alright, so once that's done, then we're going to make sure the boot is really dried. And I've done the zippers on these boots not long ago, so I didn't do a too thorough job on the zipper, but you can also use the toothbrush down the zipper to get any dirt and grease or anything, any residue out of the zippers, because I think most dressage riders know that if a zipper can break at a show, it will. So you want to take good care of your zippers. Okay, so now once the boot is dried, I'll do the abbreviated version. The next thing you're going to want to do is put your polish on. I use kind of a cream polish. I find that that works the best. That's what I like to use. So it doesn't really matter the brand, but you know, just a boot cream polish, standard boot cream. And from there, make sure you roll up your sleeves, because boot polish, it gets on everything. I use gloves to apply it. It depends. Some people like to use the little shoe brushes and whatever. I think everybody has a different preference, and that's fine. For me, I just like a glove, because you know what? I'm going to get it on my hands anyways, and then I can just stick my hand in the jar, and it's easy that way. So I like to use a glove. I mean, I guess you could probably use a reusable rubber glove too if you want, if you're not into wasting, but I have these latex ones right now, so that's what I'm going to do. So make sure that you get the polish all over the boot. Now what you have to consider when you're polishing your boot is height is a factor, and if you're short like me, all 5'2" of me, I have to consider that the inside of my boot, part of it touches my saddle pad, and so for me, because I'm short, I don't want to polish the inside of my boot too much, because when you're showing and you have a white saddle pad, you're going to end up with a black saddle pad pretty fast if you're rubbing your polished boots on it, right? So for me, I just do the inner foot on the inside of my boots. I don't do the calf or even the ankle at the back there, just because I am short, and yeah, boot polish, it does end up on your saddle pads. It's amazing, but it does. So you want to rub that in, make sure that you got it in there good. You know, be a little bit careful up at the top if you have one of the little, these are Koenigs, and so I have the little crown at the top, so you kind of want to work around that, don't get it all dirty and stained. You know, just make sure that you've got it a good even layer on there, and you can kind of smooth it out with your glove after. And then we have to let it dry for a bit, and you need to let it dry. This is very important. If you try to buff it while it's wet, you just move the polish around, and you don't actually end up shining your boot. You just end up with streaks. So the next thing we're going to need, once the boot is dry, you're going to want a towel. Again, some people use a soft brush. I just like to use an old towel, and then I have a microfiber towel that I use to finish, and then I have one of these the little quick shine things. And see, for me, this is the finisher. I use this at the end. A lot of people only use this, which I think is crazy. But this is also a great thing if you're at the show to have your groom bring over to the show ring. It's a good thing to polish your boots up right before you go in. Okay, so now that our boot is dry, we're going to get to the next part, which is the actual polishing. So for that, you're going to need a rag. Again, you know, a brush. If you want to do it with a brush, whatever you want to use to buff it, really, it's kind of personal, I think. And then I have a microfiber towel to finish it off, and then the quick shine, which I talked about. So you basically just want to buff the boot up, you know, and kind of work that in, try to get all the streaks out. If you use boot trees, which you should, because they keep your boots in good shape, you're going to take them out, obviously, because you want to make sure that you have kind of your hand against the inside of the boot, kind of giving it a little bit of pressure back against the towel or the brush or whatever you're using to shine. So, and you're going to do this for a while, until all the streaks are out, until the boot shines, okay? I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me buff this for 5 minutes, but when that's done, you're going to take your towel, your microfiber, you're going to wipe that down again just to get the last dust off. These are great, really handy at shows too for taking the last bit of dust off. So you're going to use that, and then you're going to finish it off with your quick shine, and just kind of wipe it all over. I don't want to put it on this boot yet because it's not ready. It needs to be buffed more first, but that's basically, you're going to quick shine everything up one more time, once more over with the microfiber, and that'll finish it off. And the finished product, your boot will look like this one, which I've already done. which is pretty darn good, I think. It's very shiny, looks presentable, ready to go in the show ring. And another little tip you can use after you clean your zippers, you can get one of these little guys, which is a zipper ease, and you can use this along the zipper to help prevent your zippers from breaking on you. They're kind of handy. You can order them online. It's called Zipper Ease. I like the product, and it helps the zipper, gets a little bit of grease in there. Make sure you clean the zipper first. Don't put it on a dirty zipper. All right, so that's that. So again, that's what your boot will look like if you put a little bit of hard work and effort into it. So go clean your boots. Make sure you look presentable for the shows or clinics or whatever. You know, even if your test is a train wreck, you don't need to look like one too. All right, thanks.